my name is Joey Miller. I'm the owner of Vain Salon. That's located at 1803 Chicon. Vain Salon opened about 8 months ago. Our purpose is to have fun, do great hair, and raise some money for good causes.
I wonder whether we could be happy in a place like that.
Doing fashion shows was our passion, so we all just really enjoy getting together and having fun designing hair with clothing.
Whether we could be happy in a place like that.
What is a docublogger? A docublogger is a creative individual that not only enjoys watching stories about their community, they enjoy telling them as well. Whether they're sharing their opinions through a blog or grabbing a camera and documenting a story as it unfolds, docubloggers can find a home at klru.org/docubloggers. We invite you to join us in creating and enjoying stories about life in Central Texas.
I've pretty much drawn and painted my whole life. My dad was an illustrator, and my stepmom was a designer, illustrator also. And also my grandmother did tattoo for a while. The best part is the freedom that you get in your job and just being able to control what you're doing with your life more or less than having to answer to somebody else, and you get to do your art. I've been tattooing for 15 years. I don't know, probably getting near 100 hours right now, something like that. Yeah, I do all custom. Custom work, you know, involves a lot more studying and a lot more prep time and, you know, drawing, as of where somebody walks in, it's instantaneously you make that dollar and they walk out and you don't see them again usually. But, you know, the custom tattooing, you kind of evolve a relationship with the customer too. So, you know, you get to know people more in custom tattooing. So a lot of people you're doing back pieces on, if you're working on them for years at a time, I mean, you obviously have a close relationship with these people. So it's a little bit more personal and intimate with, you know, the custom tattooing aspect. Tattooing's better than it's ever been. There's an abundance of like really good tattooers out there, so it's not hard to get a good tattoo. Whereas 20 years ago, to get a really good tattoo, you know, more than likely you're gonna have to travel, you know, a good distance, you know, depending on where you're at. Now it's a lot easier to get a really good tattoo because pretty much every city has at least one really good tattooer. So, you know, but now tattooing is a lot more popular and everybody's getting tattooed, so kind of that underground feel it used to have is pretty much gone from it now. So It's just, I don't know. I think tattooing is reestablishing itself in a whole new way now. So I guess it's kind of hard to tell what that is until maybe another 10 years from now. You know, I think a great tattoo artist studies just as much as he draws or tattoos, and probably actually studies more. You know, you got a lot of average tattoo artists who show up for the job every day and tattoo, but great ones, like, they dedicate their whole life to it, you know. It's definitely a lot of hard work. If you're a serious tattooer, it's probably a lot more work than, you know, if you would have went to college and got a degree in something and became a lawyer. It's probably just as much work, if not more, because you spend pretty much, you know, around the clock drawing and studying and tattooing, so you don't have a whole lot of free time, but, you know, you actually kind of live life in tattooing. It's not really, I mean, it's work, but I consider it more of just, you know, like how I live my life.
When I first got interested in tattooing, I was probably about 20. Yeah, my grandfather had a bunch of tattoos. He was like a local badass in Providence, Rhode Island, and he had like the sailor sleeve, just like one here, one here, one here, and one here. And a couple of them were women's names that weren't my grandmother, and that always impressed me. And I have a couple that aren't my wife's names, so yeah, I kind of grew up around an influential person that had tattoos. I've been tattooing about 11 years. I've always been influenced by traditional tattoos, always. That's all what I've always drawn. I've done, you know, like regular art school, all that kind of stuff, like painting and drawing and blah-de-blue, but when it comes to tattooing, that's all I draw. It's like traditional Americana. All the people that influenced me were into that, and that's still to this day, that's pretty much what I specialize in, so it's just something I really have a strong connection with. I think tattoo artists are overlooked as artists just because there's a stigma about tattooing. You know, to this day, people still think that women that have tattoos are whores and guys that have tattoos are like sailors or ruffians or something. Like, I'll tattoo like a 35-year-old woman, 3 kids, married, and she'll be like, God, I hope my dad doesn't see this tattoo. I'm like, what do you care? You're 35. It's not like I'm, you know, it's not like I'm putting an upside down cross on you. It's like a hummingbird or something. But there's still this stigma attached with tattooing that it's, you know, it's bad, it's, you know, evil. People that get tattoos are evil. So normal society doesn't think of, you know, somebody like me as an artist. They think of me as like, you know, corrupting their children and making them go to hell or something, you know. So a lot of people don't think of it as an art, but there are a lot of people who do think of it as an art and do seek out certain tattooers that specialize in the artwork that they like to get, you know. 50 years from now, half my pieces of art are gone. They're buried in the ground. So there's sort of like this instantness to a tattoo. There's sort of like, you know, it's for the now. It's not for, you know, to be in a museum 100, 200 years from now. It's like, for you right now, this is your art. Just wear it until you're dead. So anytime somebody walks in that door and wants a tattoo, I've been doing it for years, and to this day, it just still amazes me that just people just, who I don't know, who I've never met, just walk in and say, I want a tattoo. And I'm just like, God bless you, keep on coming in. It's just strange to me, you know, because I've never done that. I've always been friends with tattooers, hung around tattoo shops. So those kind of people that just will walk in and just get a tattoo, they're awesome, you know?
For some reason, when I was in high school, I thought that I was going to be a tattoo artist, and now I am. I've been tattooing for about 11 years. I've always been an artist since I was a little kid. I painted more than anything, and I went to school for illustration and metals, and so I made a lot of jewelry, and I did mostly oil painting. For some reason, I just I thought it was something that I wanted to do when I was a kid, and I changed my mind, and I went to college, and And then when I got out of school, I just I started getting tattooed a lot, and I had a lot of friends who were artists, and I just kind of fell into it. Tattoo art was, you know, very specifically like this one kind of thing, and now, I mean, anything can be a tattoo. I think the kind of people that get tattooed has really changed, and you know, more than half the people I tattoo are like middle-aged women, and you know, that probably wasn't the case 50 years ago for sure. And just doing a tattoo that makes somebody really happy, and being able to visualize something for somebody when they're not able to, and having it be like better than they thought it could be, and that's always really exciting, and I don't know, just making people more beautiful. And
The first step to becoming a docublogger is logging onto our website at klru.org/docubloggers.
Exchange your insights and opinions with your community on our blog, watch stories from our broadcasts, view web-only extras, and even add your own docublogs. Find all this and more at klru.org/docubloggers.
Howdy, neighbors! We're here for the barrel race. We're at the Austin, Texas Tarrytown Neighborhood Association Rodeo grounds. Unfortunately, in the big arena, they're bull riding. But they give us here a boulevard in order to get the barrel racing done. And we need to get right on her. We've got a big crowd here today. They're excited. Let's roll them. Come on, let's go. We're here behind the rodeo arena. We're looking at the contestants as they prepare. And we got our little Sally Gally Jackson coming up on. She's ready to mount. She's checking out her jazzy scooter. She thinks she's picked the right one for today's event. Getting those shafts properly positioned. Checking out the seat belt. It's all looking good for this little cowgirl. She's got her whip in her mouth. Got her gloves on. She's gonna get ready. And she's gonna get ready. Gotta put that seatbelt on when you ride these scooters. They can damn sure get away from you. And I think we're good to go. Looks a little nervous, but I think she's a go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ride 'em, cowgirl. Here she comes. Here comes Sally Gally Jackson. Sally Gally grew up out on a range in West Texas where they raise these scooters. Here she comes around that first barrel. She's looking pretty good. Got a little slow. Whoa, she almost nicked that barrel. Here she comes around this second barrel. She's wide. That's going to affect her time. Ain't she nearly knocked the dang thing over. She's headed to the third barrel. She's looking good. Here she comes around. Come on, Sally Gally. Come on. Ooh, wide around that third barrel. Come on, she's coming home. Whipping light. Come on, you fans out there. Let's hear some yelling, screaming. Woo!
I guess my favorite thing about the house is it's big, it's different, big and different. It's older than most of the houses around here. Like all the houses around here now are subdivision houses, kind of cookie cutter houses.
I guess if I were describing it to somebody who'd never been here before, I'd say a big, rambling, old wood frame farmhouse.
Born here, as was my little brother.
When you're inside the house, you always can see what's going on outside.
It's not just a colorful house, it has had a lot of colorful people coming through.
My heart and soul is poured into this house. I'm Alex Carrillo.
And I'm married to Alex Carrillo, and my name is Jim Lutz.
Well, between Jim and I, we have 5 children.
Have all been born here?
So 3 of them are mine and 2 of them are his, and we just raised them all out here.
I had seen a place advertised in the paper down the road near Manor, north of Manor, and I saw this house way back off the road in some trees. This wasn't the house for sale, but I parked on the road when there was no driveway. I walked back here half of a mile and found this old ghost house.
This house was pretty run down and absolutely lacking in color, or a solid roof, or a solid floor when we found it.
We didn't have indoor plumbing, so we had an outhouse.
I think minus the outhouse. Yeah, should have had that before I was in junior high. Well, I mean, they had some indoor plumbing. It's just that they didn't have the toilet in the house. You didn't want to bring a girlfriend out to your house and then tell her she has to use the outhouse. That's messed up. My name's Dihar. I grew up here.
My name's Sky Let's-Korea. I grew up here. It's my parents' house. And my dad told me I was conceived right there. I'm not sure if that's true, but my parents used to stay up here.
My name is Zephyr Let's-Korea, and I grew up here. And we are at Quicksand Farm.
I didn't actually name it Quicksand Farm, but it came from the original owner that we bought it from, who was Mrs. Quick. And she never actually lived here. She just bought it as, I guess, a piece of investment property that she was going to hang on to and sell.
It hadn't been lived in for 20 years, but I thought, what a cool old house that is.
I love this kitchen. It's my favorite room in the house. It's where I probably spend more hours than any other room in the house. I like to cook. I like to entertain people. I like to have people over for dinner. I love having a big kitchen and a big table and a lot of people around my table and lots of talk and lots of friends.
One thing that's really fun about this house are the little distinctive places that are architecturally different. And each of the rooms is architecturally unique. That's one thing I really love about the house. I don't remember the philosopher, but he said, a thing of beauty is a joy forever.
Having babies at home it's been the highlight of my life. 2 of the kids were actually born in the house. Dihar was always disappointed that he didn't get to actually be born in the house. Some of my friends have also come here to have their babies.
I was out here, Tina had her baby, her first baby in this room.
It's a really nice spiritual place to have babies. The first square dance started when my son Dihar, who is now 28, was a year old. We decided that a 1-year-old kid doesn't really care what their birthday party's all about. So we were just going to get a lot of our friends together to have a party. And it was his birthday party, but it wasn't really so much as of a kid party.
And we had our first square dance. And we had probably 20 or 30 people. And then the next year we had another Quicksand Farm square dance, and then another one and another one. And here 30 years have gone by, and we've skipped only 2 summers.
Now it's kind of a gathering that we really have no control over anymore. We just have to make sure that we're home and here and ready for it to happen, because I think it would happen whether we invited anybody or not. People are so used to coming.
It's a place where people of any age can come and enjoy being together, and it's a very joyful event. And your cheeks hurt from laughing.
A lot of famous people have come and gone. We've had several movies that were made out here.
They filmed Rodeo here in 1980 or 81, and this was one of several houses that they were looking at in the country.
Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio filmed What's Eating Gilbert Grape here.
They had found this wonderful old water tower in Manor that they decided was the perfect water tower for Ernie, who was Leonardo, to climb up.
They were driving around the Manor area, and they just drove down the driveway. I was working in my shop, which is in the back, and I walked up to the house for lunch, and no one was home, I don't think. And these adults were walking around with video cameras and still cameras, and you know they're not realtors, you know. Movie people don't dress like realtors. They dress more like, you know, they're going to have a beer or something. And so I figure they're probably movie people.
Yeah, they actually also filmed a made-for-TV movie here called Tornado. Right before Twister came out, it was all about Tornado in Manor.
Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie came out here as part of A Simple Life, and a TV show that was in a series where they would visit different farms, and supposedly you gave them jobs to do, and then they would run off with your handsome sons, you know, and you're supposed to get angry with them.
For Simple Life, me and my younger brother, were a pretty integral part of the show. We got tans and all kinds of stuff.
I think people film movies here just because the house is really unique. It's really interesting, and it's in a nice location. And they're able to use like the age of the house, how it looks, and everything like that, and integrate that into their movie.
Things like that happen to us pretty often, just accidentally.
On Saturday, the question of moving Robert Mueller Airport will go before Austin voters. If the move is approved, the new site near Manor would force a number of people out of their homes. And as Brian Mylar reports tonight, some residents there have vowed to go down fighting the move.
It takes a lot of energy to keep fighting, and some of us have just persevered, and because we want to stay where we are. We like this community, you know. Our kids go to school here, we own land here, we make our living out here.
On Saturday, Austin voters will tell them whether they have to move out of here and start their lives all over again someplace else. Brian Mylar, 24 Action News.
After we were here just a couple years, the city of Austin, the powers that be, determined that they wanted to build a new airport. And finally, the citizens of Manor voted to build an airport out here in Manor. When the Berlin Wall came down, the federal government decided they wanted to close a bunch of their military bases. And the closing of Bergstrom Air Force Base enabled Austin to build the airport at Bergstrom. So I live here because the Berlin Wall came down. So it goes to show you never know the effects of what you do. It has ramifications way beyond what you realize.
We were a farm before, and then when we decided to scale back on the animals, we decided to change it into a wildlife preserve. So there are certain things that we have to do to create habitat and make sure that they have food and water and a safe place to roam. And so all of our back property is the wildlife preserve, and then we keep our domesticated animals up here close to the house. Yeah, raising the animals has always been a big project, and for many years I had dairy goats out here and milked dairy goats twice a day to keep the kids in milk. And we've always had chickens to raise.
Now we have a tax status as a wildlife preserve. Habitat is being lost in the area. It makes it more important to continue creating habitat for the wild creatures.
A docublog is a video that tells a story about a person, place, event, or anything else in your community.
It can be funny, serious, concrete, or avant-garde. We encourage you to go out there and share your story with your neighbors. Go to klru.org/docubloggers to find out how.